Hello everyone, hope you're doing well and welcome to my channel. My name is Anna and for this video I'm going to be talking through the process of making the Moonset Pullover by Ozetta. This is going to be a project vlog, so you'll come along with me as I'm working on the project over the next weeks or months or however long it takes. So it is New Year's Eve tonight, December 31st, 2022, and this is going to be my New Year's Eve cast on. I'm really excited to get started. So the Moonset Pullover by Ozetta, I will put a picture for your reference here, but it is a V-neck pullover with a drop shoulder, a long sleeve, and a very loose, flowy fabric that looks super comfortable and practical for my wardrobe. So I've already done my swatches. I did these quite a few months ago actually, because I was just really excited about this project, but I haven't had time to cast it on. So these are my two swatches. This is the first swatch I did, which is at the needle size listed in the pattern, which is 4.5 millimeters, and I am a little bit loose here on gauge, so I did a second swatch, and this is with a 4 millimeter needle, and I'm about bang on gauge with this. Now keep in mind these are both swatches that are knit flat, and I know that the top portion of the garment is knit flat while you're doing the v-neck and the drop shoulders, and then the rest is knit in the round. So I may need to adjust my gauge once I knit in the round, but I'm going to start with the 4 millimeter needle for now. As I cast on. So again, this is the fabric and has a lovely drape, super drapey, and these are the yarns I'm using. This is a Finnish yarn. It's a single ply fingering weight that I dyed to get this kind of mossy green color, and then with that I'm holding one strand of the Drops Kids Elbow pair in number 19, I believe, which is their dark kind of foresty green color. So these are the two yarns I'm holding together to get this fabric. I will show you a cutaway of what it looks like in the sunlight. There's a lot of variegation and kind of depth of color that I think isn't really coming through in this lighting. But that is what I'm going to get started, and I just wanted to check in with you before I cast on because I'm really excited to get started to take you through this process with me as I go. So let's get started. Hello and Happy New Year. Today's January 2nd, and I am about to finish the back panel for the yoke of this sweater. So this is probably 10 or 12 hours of knitting, honestly. I knit this a lot on Saturday and yesterday, which was Sunday, and so this is where I've got to. I'm about to be finished. I maybe need to do 2 more rows on this back panel, but do the whole short rows to make the shoulder shaping and then knit straight for a while, and now I'm going to start picking up for the front. So just wanted to show you kind of what the yarn is looking like. This is in natural daylight, so you can see the color a little bit better. There's a lot of variegation in the yarn because I did hand dye the main color, and so there's more variegation than I intended to. Whoops, lost a pin. It's pinned into my rug, so it's flat and you can see it, but there is a lot of variegation. So this kind of, oh gosh, I'm struggling. So this kind of like lighter color is closer to the original color of the yarn. It was like almost a yellow. And then there's spots where the dark green dye that we used on it picked up really dark. So there's some kind of splotches in there, but I think it's actually really pretty. And the mohair does a good job of kind of blending it all together. So this is where I'm at so far. I'm really liking it. I'm just trying to decide once I join in the round, if I need to alternate skeins. I probably should. I probably won't, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Right now, I think it looks fine as it is, and it's going to be really cute. So I'm excited to start on the collar and the front, which has a really interesting construction. So yeah, that's my January 2nd update. Hello, just checking in for another update on my sweater. It is the end of the day on January 2nd. So this is now my 3rd full day working on this sweater. When I showed it to you earlier, I had the back panel. Flip this around. So I've started on the front panel. We've got the little back, and so I've done this little front panel section. I'm starting the increases for the v-neck. So you pick up for one side, and then I'll pick up for the other side later. But yes, I'm about halfway down the front panel, I would say. So that's where I'm at after about 3 days. Hello again, friends. This is an update on my Moonset Pullover for you on January 3rd. So this is my day 4 of working on this. I have knit this whole front left panel and I've started doing the increases for the v-neck. So it's coming along really well. I was alternating skeins here for a little bit on the side, but I got annoyed, so I stopped. And I think it'll be fine. I'm not actually that worried about the color pooling. I think it looks really nice so far, actually. So I'm just gonna keep plugging away and hopefully I can finish this front left panel by tomorrow. Okay, hi, it's me again. It looks like I have not moved, but I have, and this is the next day. Today is January 4th, and I just finished the left front of my sweater, so I'm gonna show it to you. So here it is, the left front. I've done all the v-neck increases. And so this is what it looks like so far. So you have this whole back panel, and then you start with the collar and attach it going down. So I will do the same thing as this mirrored on this side. And eventually, once I finish that, I will meet them in the center and then keep going. So I just wanted to show you, I was a little worried when I was doing this back panel that the shoulder or that the armholes were going to be kind of small, but it should be fine because the seam here on the shoulder is not sitting, like, it doesn't sit up here on your shoulder, it sits kind of further back. So, which you can tell because when you fold this in half, like if I was to join in the round right now, you would see there's like a good chunk of this front piece that sits actually on the back. And I do have a little bit further to go. Once I join the v-neck, I'll have to knit a little bit longer before I join in the round. So things are looking good. I mean, it's like rolling like crazy because it's all stockinette, but it's starting to look, if I lay it out this way, starting to look a little bit more like a sweater. I love the fabric. I think it's so beautiful. I don't remember if I mentioned this or not yesterday, but I started alternating skeins and then I got annoyed. So I haven't been alternating skeins for most of this front piece and it looks fine. I think there's not really much pooling. The way that the color's distributed actually I think this looks really nice. The mohair is definitely helping to even everything out. And yeah, it's looking really, really good. I'm excited to start on the second half of the back piece and start building that out. So yeah, I'm worried that once I finish this kind of interesting construction, I'm going to be a little bit less excited to work on this, but we'll see. I do really like the yarn combination and the fabric, so maybe that will keep me engaged in working on this once I'm just knitting stockinette forever. So yeah, that's where I'm at today. And I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Hey guys, checking in for today. It is January 5th, so this is day 6 of working on this project. As you can see, I finished the left front side of the v-neck and I've picked up for the right front side. I've done the straight section and now I'm increasing for the v-neck on this side, but I figured I'd kind of show you. I'm not sure you can see with my needles everywhere, but kind of what it's laying like and how it's gonna look. So I chose the size large on this because I wanted it to be quite cozy and oversized, so it's going to come pretty far down on my shoulder here for the drop. But the v-neck is laying really nicely. I think it's going to hit in a good place. This side will come together and then I'm going to combine them. Yeah, so I think the yoke is looking really good. Again, you can kind of see, not the best lighting here, but you can kind of see the fabric. It's really pretty. The core of the silk gives it this kind of sheen and it's really marly and tonal. So yeah, that's where I'm at on this. I didn't really have like a timeline for when I wanted this sweater to be finished, but I was just watching a video from the Balance Skein. She was talking about how she was going to cast on a sweater for her birthday, and I was thinking as I was doing this and watching her video, like, oh, maybe this could be my birthday sweater, but not like a birthday cast on, like a finished in time for my birthday sweater. So my birthday is 2 weeks from tomorrow. It's January 20th, on a Friday, and tomorrow is Friday. So 2 weeks from tomorrow is my birthday, and I'm hoping to be able to finish this front panel tomorrow with the increases and join the v-neck. And then it's like just a couple rounds before you join for the sleeves, so I could probably realistically finish the yoke tomorrow. The question is, can I realistically finish the entire body and 2 sleeves and wash and block the sweater in 2 weeks? I don't know. I have pretty much exclusively been knitting on this since I cast it on, except for when I'm out of the house. Like when I was riding the bus to work on Tuesday, I worked on my half and half wrap, but at home I've mostly been working on this. And granted, I haven't been knitting like quite as much as I usually do. I've been working on some other things and just like taking some time to rest because I'm feeling a little tired getting back into the swing of work. But I wonder if I can do it. And I don't want to push myself to do it. Like if I'm not enjoying this, I won't push myself to do it. But it's a really cute sweater and I'm really excited to have it, and it's gonna be fun to have it done for my birthday. So food for thought. We'll see how things go. I might look back at this and laugh, but we'll see. So stay tuned to see if we can get there. Hi friends, back again in my bed for the 3rd day in a row. I am making really good progress. I finished the right front today and I've joined the v-neck, and I'm like, I don't know, just a handful of rows away from being able to join the yoke, which I wanted to do today, but I'm getting tired and it's kind of late. So I'm going to put this down for tonight, but I'm really happy with how it looks. I'm going to try it on for you so you can see. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see because the light is terrible and this is not a good camera. This light is slightly better. So you can kind of see that I was worried about this the entire time I was doing it, that the right side has a little bit more like color speckling in it than the left side. And I was like worried about it the entire time I was doing it, but didn't do anything about it. And I think, I mean, it's noticeable, but I think it'll be okay, especially because this is going to be a drop shoulder, like quite a low drop shoulder. And a lot of the speckling is on the outside of this piece, so it will kind of get hidden under my arm. And I don't think it looks bad. I just, I mean, it's much more noticeable on one side than the other, so that was my only thing. But I think it'll be fine. So I'm not interested in going back and fixing it. There's nothing wrong with it. Changing it. But yes, it's coming along really cute. The v-neck is joined. I really do have like 2 or 3 rows left before I split for sleeves. And when I was first knitting the back panel, I was really concerned about the armhole depth because I've knit some drop shoulder patterns before and I'm really particular about armhole depth. But this pattern is just, I'm really feeling quite impressed with the construction because you did, I'm not going to turn around, I'm not sure what you're going to be able to see, but you knit the back panel with this angle on it, but not the front panel, but the angle of the back panel like follows, follows the slope of my shoulders so nicely. And yeah, ozetta did a great job. I think her name is Haley. She did a really great job in constructing this sweater. This is the second of her patterns that I've made, and I've been really impressed with both of them. I just think it's crazy. I want to take it off. That like the front panel is so much longer than the back panel, but yet it joins at a nice place, and you can see now once I join, like that is a decently deep armhole. Like it's about as deep as this dress that I'm wearing right now, which is like quite oversized. It's like a night dress. So yeah, so tomorrow I will join in the round and start the adventure of the body. Now this is the ball I'm using right now, and you can see that there are lots of speckles in them. And so I think when I get into the body and I'm knitting in the round, I'm going to alternate skeins with helical knitting, which I just didn't want to have to alternate skeins while I was knitting flat. I even actually started doing it on the one side, but it was making this edge really ugly. And I got annoyed with it within like 4 or 5 rows. You can see where I like quit doing it, but the mohair wasn't, because I was using the one ball of mohair but switching the wool strands, and it was just being annoying. And I'm gonna pick up over that so you won't be able to see it, but I was annoyed, so that's why I didn't do it on the other side. And I could have probably prevented some of this color pooling if I had done that, and it's not really even pooling, it's just like heavy speckling. But it's fine, I'm at peace with my decision. And maybe tomorrow I'll show you this in the daylight, because the color looks a lot more different in the daylight. There's a lot more like variation in the color. But yeah, one more thing before we're done is I'm actually really impressed with my tension. Like it's very, very even. And I typically, when I'm knitting flat, experience some kind of rowing out and I have to like be conscious about it. And I was conscious about it when I was first starting this, but there's really not. I mean, you can maybe see a little bit of rowing out like at the very beginning of this piece where I was just starting the project. But on these front panels, I don't know if the speckling is kind of hiding it, but I mean, usually you can tell rowing out as well on the back where there's like some deeper rows, and there's a little bit, but it looks, I think it looks really good. I'm really quite pleased with the tension. So maybe I'm just getting to be less of a rowy outy knitter, or if it's the yarn combination. Rowing out I feel like is kind of random, and it definitely depends on the needles and the yarn and the pattern, and like there's a lot of factors that go into it, but very happy that there's not a lot of rowing out on this one. So yeah, I've clipped the back collar to the back piece. Right now you'll have to also just sew that down at the end, but I've just clipped it with a stitch marker to hold it for now. And yes, so tomorrow I will join the body and keep knitting. I know yesterday I was thinking maybe I would try and finish this for my birthday. No, I'm not feeling so sure about that. It's 2 weeks away and it's a lot of knitting between now and then. So we'll see. But yes, I'm really happy with it. All right, it's late, so I'm gonna go to bed now and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hi, it's been a while since I've updated you. Today is January 16th, so I haven't talked to you in probably about a week. I'm just gonna let you know now that this will not be done in time for my birthday because I knew this would happen, but as soon as I joined in the round, I was like, I lost all interest in this project. But I have slowly and surely been working my way down the body, so I'm probably like 4 inches down the body, and I've probably got another 8 to go. So it's going, it's happening, but it's not going to be finished probably even in January, just realistically, because I'm just not that excited to work on it right now. The one thing I do want to show you, and that I'm feeling a little weird about, is that I am alternating skeins on this, and this is the first time I've done helical knitting for alternating skeins, and I just feel like you can kind of see, I guess I'm being dumb, but I feel like you can kind of see the line where the skeins are alternating. So I might, once I get the alternating point to like across this side of across the back, I may stop alternating skeins and just use one skein for the rest of it. I don't know, I just feel like it looks kind of noticeable. Do you see there's just kind of like a diagonal line across the body that I'm sure will block out, but it's gonna bother me, and I don't want it on the front of the sweater. So I think I'm gonna stop alternating skeins once I get to there. I've just recently started with my 3rd ball of mohair, and then I did want to show you guys right now, because it's still slightly daylight outside, the true color of the fabric in the daylight. It's a lot more yellow. It looks a lot more yellow in natural light than it does in artificial light. But there's just a lot of color variation and nuance in there, dark spots, light spots. I'm gonna actually take a video with the camera flip so you can see, but it looks really pretty and I'm very happy with it. I think it's gonna be great once I get finished with it. It's just now like stockinette until the sweater is done, and that is not, I just don't love knitting plain stockinette, even in the round. I just find it really boring. So that's where I'm at right now, but I'm gonna keep going and I will update you next time I make some significant progress. This is looking way blue. It's way greener in person, but I just wanted to show you kind of the variation in the colors. There's a lot of this yellowy tones. Yeah, it's really cool. It's an interesting fabric. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Just doing a little fit check. Obviously did not make it to my birthday, but wanted to show you I'm about halfway down the length prescribed for the body. This is how it's looking so far. I love the fabric. I love the color variation, pardon my mirror. And I really like how it's going to come quite far down on my shoulder, the drop. It's kind of rolling up on itself. But it's going to come quite far down on my shoulder, which I think is going to be nice, because it means I won't have to knit as much sleeve. And yeah, I like the length of the V. I love the shoulder shaping.
can kind of see there. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. Just have at least this much more to go. We'll get there.
Hey everyone, happy Thursday. No, it's Wednesday. It was January 25th, and I am about finished with the body. So here's a status update. This is good, decently good artificial lighting, so you can see the fabric, and then this is where we're at on the body. Every time I measure it, I feel like it's there, and then it's not there, but I'm about to start the I-cord bind off on the bottom. And you can kind of see like it's gonna have a really long, low drop shoulder. So I think before I do the drop shoulder, like before I pick up for one of the sleeves and start the sleeves, I'm gonna block it just so that these armholes will lay nice and flat for my pickup and help me see just how everything's gonna fit. You can also kind of see how, so I did alternate skeins throughout the whole body because one skein had much more of the speckling in it than the other. Sorry, my mirror's dirty, by the way. And so you can kind of see how like this speckle has migrated its way down, but I think it's spaced out enough that unless you're looking like really closely at me, you would never notice. But yeah, I feel like it helped to kind of disperse the speckling a little bit. I'm glad I did end up alternating skeins. I basically ended up alternating skeins like from the armhole all the way across the back, but I didn't, you can kind of tell there's like a slight diagonal line, and you're not looking at it right now, it's on the back. But there's like a slight diagonal line across the back, so instead of bringing it across the front and having that diagonal line, I broke one skein, brought it back to the back, and then alternated skeins all the way across the back a second time. And I got to the other side like maybe 3 or 4 rounds ago, and so I'm just gonna finish off the body with this little ball that I have left. This is the specklier yarn. And this is the first skein, so I've still worked all of this with one skein, and I have more than half of the second skein left. So lots and lots of yarn still left. I think I have 2 more full skeins. I should have plenty of yarn. Oh, actually I did have a half skein, so I've probably used a skein and a half total. And I think I have 2 more, so I have plenty. And obviously the sleeves won't need to be that long since they aren't going to start until all the way down here. So yeah, I'm going to block it after I do the I-cord bind off, and it's very roomy. I am making the sides large, which I wanted to do because I wanted it to be very roomy and cozy. I really like the depth of the v-neck. I like the really seamless join here. I'm really, really happy with it. It's just taking so long. But we're getting there, and I think once I get onto the sleeves, it will go so much faster. So yeah, that's a little status update for you. We're really getting there. We're like more than halfway done now. Hiya, it is Sunday, January 29th, and I wanted to show you that I have started my first sleeve. So I started yesterday, Saturday, blocked out lovely, just like I showed you, and I've started on the left sleeve. I don't know why I picked left over right, just the one that felt okay. So I've knit about 3 inches so far. This was just in about, I don't know, an hour and a half or 2 hours yesterday. So I think it'll go pretty quickly. No shaping, just straight sleeve. I'm a little concerned that the length in the pattern is going to be too long, so I'll have to try it on as I go to make sure the sleeve doesn't get too long. But I'm excited. On the home stretch. It's going to be great. Just a quick check-in. I've been knitting, same day. I've been knitting for probably like 2 hours, and I've like doubled the length already. So it's going great. I think at this rate, I'll be able to have the sleeve done in like a couple of days, honestly. Sorry for the background noise, but I really like it. And actually, now that I've knitted it and like I'm seeing it as a short sleeve, I think I would really like it as a t-shirt as well. Like obviously I wouldn't do the sleeve this long, and if I was going to do it as a top, probably have it a little bit more fitted, but
there is a Moonset T pattern. So I don't know if I would use that or if I would just use this and make it into a short sleeve, but now I'm really thinking about that for summertime. So I'm really enjoying this pattern. I love the fit of it. I love the depth of the V-neck. I really like the drop shoulder. There's no shaping or anything on it, but it fits really nicely. I think just because it drops so far off my shoulder that it doesn't need to be any longer. So yeah, it's going well.
Hey guys, I was in the process of editing my January knits video, and I was like, oh, I'm making a video of my Moonset Pullover, and I forgot that I hadn't checked in with you guys in a minute. But we have a very significant check-in. I'm trying to set you up in a good place. I'm currently traveling for work in Vancouver, BC, and so I'm in my hotel. Okay. So I'm in a lovely hotel in Vancouver, BC, and I am knitting away on my Moonset Pullover on the second sleeve because I finished my first sleeve. I love it. It's so good. It's very, very wide. And while I was knitting it, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be too wide. I was like, should I do some decreases? There's no decreases in the pattern. It's a straight sleeve. I was like, should I do some decreases? And I decided against it. And I think I'm okay with it. Granted, I have not tried this on since I bound off the sleeve, but I looked at some pictures on Ravelry. I looked at other people's projects, and the sleeves are big and loose, but they're fine. And I think you may be thinking to yourself, Anna, didn't you say you wanted to rip back the sleeves? My mom also said this to me. Didn't you say you were going to rip back the sleeves on your Frankie? Is it Frankie? Lou sweater because the sleeves were too wide? And I would say, yes, I do want to rip back the sleeves on that. But that I think is different than this because the Frankie, no, I keep wanting to call it Frankie, but it's the Lou. It's the gray mock turtleneck that I knit in Hillesvåg unspun yarn. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back on go look at my 2022 knits video, and I talk about it in there. But that's a raglan, and I think I don't mind wider sleeves when it's a drop shoulder because there's just something weird about the sleeve being wide. I don't know what it is about a wide sleeve on a raglan that I don't like as much because this has a very wide sleeve. Like I think that when I measured it around, it's like 16 inches. Like that's quite a wide sleeve. Like this is a double XL sweatshirt I'm wearing right now. And like this is a very wide sleeve. So it's going to be wide, but I think I'm okay with it. And you know what? If I'm not okay with it, I can rip back and decrease. But I like the look of the pattern as it is. So I left it. And it is a wide sleeve, but I think it's going to be cozy. So I finished it. I knitted exactly to pattern, number of lengths, or like length, no decreases, number of stitches and everything for the size that I'm knitting, which is the large. I'm just, now that I'm seeing it, I did not alternate skeins on the sleeve because I could not be bothered. And there is, you can kind of see this like spirally bit in the yarn, but like realistically when I'm wearing that, I don't think anyone will notice. It's just the way that the dye took to the yarn. There's like kind of a line around it, but I think it's okay. So yes, I'm now on the second sleeve, and I also will say that I knit this sleeve up in like 2 days because it's just straight stockinette. It took me like maybe just over 48 hours, like in a weekend I knit this sleeve. So I cast it on, picked up for the sleeve yesterday. Actually, I really just finished picking up for the sleeve tonight, and I've already knit an inch in like the last hour. So it knits up super fast. I have a long car ride tomorrow home from Vancouver, so I will probably get halfway. If I just knit on this in the car, probably get like halfway through the sleeve. So I will have this sweater done very soon. I need to sew down this, but I did weave in some other ends. And actually I will say, Ozetta has a really good link in her pattern for like rafting together an I-cord, which I did not do on the bottom of the sweater, but I followed it for the sleeve. And I mean, it's not perfect, but it is a pretty seamless way to finish an I-cord bind off, which, oh my gosh, I-cord bind offs just take so long. It's like really painful, but yeah, I'm really happy that I have the sleeve done, and like by the end of the weekend, it's Thursday, no, today's Wednesday, I will have this done by like Sunday at the latest. So yay, it's gonna be so cute. I'm really excited to have this finished. It's gonna be perfect, like
super loungy, cozy, working from home, chic. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. I will keep knitting away on the sleeve and talk to you soon. I'm done. It is Sunday, February 5th, and I'm finished. I've cast off both the sleeves. Sew the back down and everything. It needs blocking, but then it will be done. So yeah, I'm excited. The sleeves are very wide and maybe a little shorter than I would want, so I think I might try to stretch them a little bit when blocking, make them a little bit more narrow and a little longer. But I knitted exactly to pattern, all the lengths and everything. The body length, the arm lengths are all to pattern. And yeah, here it is. It's gonna be very cozy and wonderful. So I'm gonna go give it a little soak and then it'll be all done. Okay, hi. Today is January. Nope, it's not January. It's February 17th. I've been finished with this sweater for about 2 weeks now, almost. And I've worn it several times, so now I'm ready to talk you through my final thoughts. All right, so here she is in all of her glory. I will say, from the last clip that you just saw, I did block the sleeves out, and they're a lot longer now, a little more narrow, and I'm really happy with the fit of them. So I'll stand up so you can see. They kind of hit when my arms are down, like right above my knuckles. And they're wide, but they're not like unmanageably wide. I think I like the width on these sleeves better than I do on my Lou Ginzer because of the I-cord. It kind of pulls it in a little bit and just doesn't, it feels structured. It doesn't feel floppy. Like there is structure here and it's not gonna like stretch out wildly, or I don't know. I just think it works better for this design than it does for the other design. Other things that I want to mention is that I really like the neckline on this, but it is a little bit loose and a little wide, and I think it might be because of the size I chose, which I'll talk about more in a second. But yes, so I think I might end up threading an elastic either through the outer edge of this ribbing or the inner edge of this ribbing, not to like cinch it in, but more to just like stabilize it and keep it from stretching out. Because like when I'm moving around, it's moving around and kind of opening just because this can open. It's not like tacked down really tightly. Like there is a lot of ability for movement in this neckline, and I just kind of want it to stay a little bit more structured. To the size thing that I mentioned before, I knit this in the size large, which is really one size above what is recommended for my bust measurement. I generally measure at about a 36-inch bust, which I think is about 92 centimeters. And I think this pattern recommends 15 to 20 centimeters of positive ease, and this gave me more like 25. So I have a lot of positive ease, which is what I was initially going for, because I intended this sweater to be very comfy, very slouchy, very relaxed, very like work from home chic, which is what I got. But I think it is maybe just a touch bigger than is ideal, and I probably would have been better off knitting the size down, which would have taken less yarn and less time. So maybe this is a lesson to me that you should listen to the designer's recommendations and knit the recommended ease. I don't think it's too big. I don't think it looks like it's swallowing me. It's just like, it is very wide. Like there is a lot of ease here. And when I tuck it into something like high-waisted, it just feels like there's a lot of fabric. So something to be mindful of. Maybe this is just gonna end up being a sweater that I don't really tuck in and that I just kind of like let hang, which is fine. The only thing about that is that this bottom I-cord, I forgot to knit it on the needle size down. I knit it on the same, I knit the body on a 4 and I knit the I-cord on a 4, and I think maybe it flips up like this. So I don't know if I need to reblock it or what, but it does flip a little bit. So maybe I'll try and reblock it or steam it so it lays a little bit more flat. But other than that, really happy with this sweater. I really like the fabric. It's very airy and light, but very warm. It's a little bit scratchy, which I'm not sure if it's the mohair or the wool. I think it's probably the wool. Someone commented on a video of mine where I've shown this yarn previously, because it's a Finnish yarn, and she's like, people in Finland mostly use that wool yarn to make rugs. And she thought it was funny that I planned to make a garment with it. So I don't think it's like really intended to be made for this, to be used for this, but it's like, it's not uncomfortable, and it's the kind of like prickly yarn. It's less prickly than Let Low Be, I would say. And it's that kind of prickly that like it feels prickly when you put it on, but once it warms up to your body temperature, it's really not very noticeable. And I'm not very sensitive to wool, or at least I tell myself that I'm not, and kind of like just pretend that I'm not, and I don't let it bother me.
But like running my hands over the fabric, I really like it. The stitches are very even, very smooth. The color variation is really pretty. So the color variation in the base yarn, which is hand dyed by me, and I'm not a professional, so like I was going for more of like a semi-solid, but I ended up with something a little more speckled, a little more tonal. So there's a lot of color variation in that, and then the mohair is kind of a deeper, cooler green than the main strand, and it has a lighter core. You know how some mohair yarns, like the silk doesn't take the dye the same way as the mohair fiber, so there's a little color variation in there. So again, I'll do a close-up so you can see, but there's just a lot of color variation in this fabric between the base yarn and the mohair and the silk, and then in the body of the sweater there's also a lot of speckling, just because I had 4.5 skeins of this yarn that I dyed. I ended up needing to use about 3 of them, and one of my 4.5 skeins was way more heavily speckled than the other, and that just ended up being the one that I started knitting with. I think if I were to do this again and like think about it a little bit more, I probably would not have chosen that yarn, and I would have gotten more of a uniform fabric that's not as heavily speckled like the sleeves. I don't dislike the speckles, but I think I would have liked it just like a tiny hair more if there wasn't so much of this like really dark speckly variegation on the arm or on the body. So you can see like the body compared to the sleeves, there's a lot more speckling. There's a couple other places where the like color placement isn't great, or there's like some pooling or streaking or striping, but it doesn't really bother me elsewhere. And the speckles are pretty and they make it look unique and different. So I don't dislike them. I'm not like in love with them, but I'm not gonna rip back or do anything about it. And this was a good opportunity for me to learn about alternating skeins, which I did on the back. And I don't think you'll be able to, I'm gonna put a cutaway of me wearing this sweater, but I don't think you can see where the float's carried, so that's nice. So I learned a lot of things while I was knitting this sweater. I learned about, you know, yarn and color management, about alternating skeins, about ease and size, and that's just probably one of my favorite things about knitting, is that every time you do a project you learn something new, either about your preferences or a new technique or new style, or just like understanding better like what works for you. So yeah, that is really it for my final thoughts on this sweater. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the whole process of me making this. I hope it was entertaining for you. I know it was a lot of me like talking to you from my bed, but that's the reality of my knitting life. But yeah, I enjoyed putting this together for you. It was fun for me as well to just kind of keep a record of my progress and see how quickly I moved through the yoke, and then like how I really stalled out after that. So I kind of expected that, and I know that about myself, but it was funny to see it like in real time. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see me do another project vlog, let me know. I'd be happy to do that. And yeah, that's really it for me today, and I will see you guys again very soon.